Hi, welcome back. Grab a cup of knit and chat. I'm Maggie, and I'm a little bit late with putting out my regular podcast, and I don't have a whole lot to talk about. So, welcome to those of you that are new. Welcome back to those of you that are returning. This is Grab a Cup of Knit and Chat, episode 25. Today is January 26th of 2025. And it's about 12:45 in the afternoon. It's a Sunday. It's cold outside here in Oregon, but the sun is shining. So I just have my overhead light on, and the rest of the light is coming from the window. I took my glasses off to try to help with the glare, but please forgive me because I cannot see to read. If I need to put them on, you will get a glare. Sorry, it's just what's going to happen. I have an orange Fanta today to drink, so grab something to drink and we'll get to chatting. I have things falling off my desk. I have said it time and time again. I need to clean my craft room. As far as finished objects, I had 3, and I don't have any of them with me anymore because they have been sent or given. And the video that I did on the 20th of January, which would have been right around the time that I would have had a normal podcast out or vlog or whatever you want to call this little mayhem in my corner. I did like a 50-minute video and I went to upload it and it's all gone. So there you go. So now we're doing this again, and I did not get pictures of anything that I had finished because I had done that video, and somewhere in the middle of uploading it last Monday, everything went wonky. Now the video's nowhere to be found, and I no longer have the objects. So hopefully I can get some photos of those sent to me. One of them is the main whip that I had going on, and that was my dad's old-fashioned cardigan that I was doing in Lion Brand's Heartland, Great Smoky Mountains. It was a heavy cardigan. Oh my gosh, it was so heavy. I've shown it so many times on here to the point where I just really didn't want to show it anymore. I finally finished it, which my intent was to... Okay. I started the cardigan back in September of 2024. Right around the time Flock in Seattle happened, I think the first weekend of August, somewhere in there. I was just starting the cardigan. I mean, I had like swatched for it, and I got my needle gauge. I had to go down a needle size. Everything was on gauge. Everything was perfect. I got started. I had done the collar, and I was like, it's gonna be a little bit more than I can take with me on the train, and everything was going great. And then something happened where I misread the pattern. I put it down for months. I didn't pick it back up until end of October, 1st of November, so it sat for a long time, and I was like, I don't know what happened. The pattern was fine. Or what I was doing with the pattern was fine. I didn't mess up. So I guess my brain, my wires got crossed with it. So then I turned around, I picked it back up, and I was like, okay, so I'm going to finish this for Christmas because his birthday is in January. I want to try to get it out by his, around Christmas birthday type thing. Because I try to send everything in one box when I send Christmas slash birthday. I usually I send them both in one box, but I wrap the birthday where it's different than the Christmas so that there's that distinction. Um, I'm just looking for the pattern, and I realized I need to take it out of my favorites bundle of cardigans to make and put it in my bundle cardigans I've made. There's the picture of the pattern. It's a little glary, blurry, but it's by Maxim Sear. Um, Lovely pattern, easy pattern. Um, I It was a very easy pattern when I picked it back up. It went pretty quickly. It's intuitive. You kind of know what you're doing. I, on the other hand, am only good with small amounts of remembering what I need to do. So I kept the pattern in front of me. I had run out of yarn on the body. I've talked about this before. I started a sleeve. I misread the pattern and I did all the decreases in the sleeve, and then it said knit until so and so length, but all my decreases were in this amount because I did misread the pattern. So you have to really read what you're doing. But I'm one of those people that whenever I do a pattern, I I read each section as I go. Otherwise, I get confused in what I'm doing. So if I'm doing the collar, it starts with the collar, I only read through the pattern of what I'm going to do to the collar. And then whenever it starts the body, I read the pattern of what I'm going to do on that section. So I really love it when designers split it into sections because that's about all I can handle. If I read an entire pattern all the way through before I start, then I I really get confused and can't do it. But anyway, I messed up that sleeve. I took the sleeve out. I redid the sleeve. I started the sleeve again. I got all the way down to the cuff on the sleeve the second time, and I went to go change my needles for the cuff needle and realized I had knit the entire sleeve on the cuff needle instead of the main body needle. So I had to take the sleeve out a second time. So I put it back on hold. I finished out the body and then I did the opposite sleeve. I don't know, I guess there was some bad juju on that one sleeve, but I did the opposite sleeve. It turned out fine, and then I picked up the second sleeve, and then I did the band for the front, which is really cool, and I love it. And now that I'm looking at his, I'm like, I did the band completely wrong, but I don't think my dad's gonna mind. I did it out of 100% acrylic yarn because my dad turned 80 this month and I wanted something that was ease of care for him. He doesn't really wear coats. He lives in Texas, so it doesn't get extremely cold there, but they do have ice storms, and even lately they've had some snow last week. So he does wear like flannel jackets with fleece on the inside during the winter. And I think the cardigan that I made is pretty heavy. So he can actually wear it as a jacket. But anyhow, everything's going better. That's done. It's sent. And I will try to get pictures of it from him. The other finished object that I did was a Sophie scarf by Petite Knit. I don't know how many Sophie scarves you've seen. They're like all over the place. They're everywhere. Um, and I did a party line scarf. I'm looking for them now. Um, from Casey Apple at Young Folk Knit. This is the Sophie scarf, and this is the party line scarf. Now the Sophie scarf is shorter and will go around my neck and tie in the front, but it's too tight to me. I knit it as pattern. And I don't like something, I mean, I'm sitting here doing my sweatshirt away from my neck because I feel like it's too much on my neck. Um, I I can wear my hair, and that's what I want to do it for. The party line scarf is considerably longer, and I love the eyelets, and it's a lot wider. I feel like the Sophie scarf is maybe about 2.5, 3 inches wide. The party line is about 4.5 inches wide. I did both of those in this Patons, linen in the color sage, which I love the color. And if you've watched my videos, you can see that I did a staple top from Joji Locatelli out of this. I love it. It's soft. It's wonderful. I happened to have found it on sale, but I did not realize that everybody was clearancing the Patons linen. It's a cotton linen blend, and I love this, and I want more, and I can't find any more. Not exactly this color. So I want to say that I can't remember how many skeins I had. I think it was 5 or 6 skeins of this. And I did a staple top, a Sophie scarf, and a party line scarf all out of it. And this is what I have left. So it went a long way. Don't know what I'm going to do with that. But I actually wore the Sophie scarf to work, and I took the party line scarf in to show a coworker, and I wound up without either one of them. So there you go. Which is fine by me because they're small enough that, I mean, they're tiny, and they can use the party line scarf as a belt. They're so tiny. So they loved them. I let them have them. It's no big deal. So on that, let's see. I still haven't gotten print or ink for my printer, so I still have the 2024 on my notebook. I do have some on order. I don't know what it is. Printer, well, I'm not going to go political or anything, but things have gone god awful expensive. It's crazy. So I'm redoing my notebook so that in the video that was lost, I was trying to show last year in my notebook, I had wrote down what I wanted to do in January, and then every day I was trying to write down what I worked on and how much I did on each project, and that did not last long at all. So this year in January, I wrote down what I had on my needles or what I wanted to put on my needles. And as you can see at the bottom, I have some cross stitch and some hand stitching, quilting. I do want to incorporate that daily, not just knitting and crocheting. I do have other hobbies that I like, and I need to branch out and not do the same thing every day. I think it would make the hands a little easier if I did that, because they're getting really stiff and it's horrible. So I finished my dad's cardigan on the 22nd. I did the Sophie scarf. I started it on January the 4th and I finished it on January the 16th. The party line scarf I started on January 17th and finished it on the 19th. I have a note to make. I'm doing the Berroco mystery blanket, which I've talked about before. You can get on Ravelry. I need to write down the color, but in January there was 2 blocks put out for that blanket. Some months will have 2 mystery blocks, some months will have 1 mystery block. So January had 2. I started the first block on the 1st of January and finished it on the 20th. And I started the second block on the 20th and I finished it today. My vivid blanket from Tin Can Knits, which I was doing as an advent for myself in December with some Jameson Smith yarn that I had in stash. I did 2 blocks for that, and I did those starting on the 17th and I finished them on the 18th. And then I started the Hogwarts Dueling Club fingerless mitts on the 16th, and I'm currently working on those. And I'll talk about those. But what I'm doing is, this is how I'm doing it now. So it's kind of like a knitting journal where I need to put the color that I did that second block in. It's like a knitting journal. I just wrote down what I worked on when I started it, and if I worked on it in January, if I finished it, like some of these, like the Berroco blanket, I finished both of the blocks. I worked on the vivid blanket. I started working it on a certain day. I finished working on it on a certain day. If I do another one, then I'll add started block 3, 126, 2025. And if I finish it, I finish it. If I don't, I don't. Usually I can do one of those in a day, but that's all I'm knitting that day. I do stop and take breaks. So that's how I'm going to be doing my book now. And I have knitting journals, and I can go back in and do all the fun stuff with the knitting journal. I don't know. I think I kind of like having things that I want to do. Like, I've seen a lot of podcasts lately where they're going through, oh, these are my plans for 2025. Well, I did that last year in January, and it didn't work out so well because by February I was done with that. So if I write down the first of the month what I want to work on for the month, then I can write down when I worked on it for that month. I think a monthly thing is a little easier. I've also been distracted because I've been doing things for my cross stitch lately too. So I'll talk about a little bit of that. I will show you what I'm working on. The Hogwarts Dueling mitts. That's it right there. I can show you this page because it only talks about it and gives you like yarn information. I'm doing it, that's a beaded pattern. The chart is a bead. You're beading the chart as you're working, and the person that I'm making these for didn't want the beads. So I'm adapting the pattern to work in the round. So I took, and it's going to be done in this, Cascade Heritage fingering is the colors. And I can't tell you which color is which because I wound both colors. And I can only find one of the labels. But it's done in this lilac and black. They want the moons in the black. One of the things that I wanted to learn this year is duplicate stitch. So I'm doing the mitt part in the round. And it's pretty long. So this is what's going to be on the forearm here. This is it's working this way. I've kind of adapted the pattern to work with me. And then I'm going to go back and use the chart that's provided in the book and do duplicate stitch for the moons. I think it'll be kind of an easy thing to learn since they didn't want the beads. And this pattern is found in Harry Potter Knitting Magic. We'll see how that goes. I'm popular. Sorry about that. Next is, I've been working on this one. It's a Muscle Burrow hat. I haven't picked it up in months. I've been working on it since October, really. In this wonderful color here. I just picked it up yesterday, honestly, and did a few rounds on my hike. Let's see, this is Falling Off Show Colorway by Always Be Kind Yarn. I think I've shown it before. Oregon Flock and Fiber Festival is the OFF. And it's held in the fall in Albany, Oregon. And then this is the mini that I'm going to use with it. And what I'm doing is right now I have my twice sheared sheet measuring thing on. Is in the Muscle Burrow pattern, it gives you color blocking options. So what I'm doing is I'm knitting to my mark here. When it reaches the top of this purple mark, then I'll switch it to the green, and I'll do about 6.5 inches in the green, and then I'll switch it back to the main. And then whenever you do the one end inside the other on the hat, the brim will be in that green, and then this will be the main color of the hat, and it'll be that way reversed as well. So I've picked that back up. I have a couple of all-day trainings, Monday and Tuesday, tomorrow and the next day, and this is nothing but stockinette knitting. And so I'm going to take it along and do that over the next couple of days and see how far I get. So I will try to remember to put a marker in that. I don't think I have one with me. I do not. I don't have a marker here. I know what I'll do. I have a safety pin right here. I will just go ahead and put a marker in with the safety pin, and then whenever I get done with the vlog, then I can put an actual stitch marker in on this row so you can see, because this is my beginning of the round marker, and I just put the measuring tape there, and then I can show you how much I get done next time. So, let's see. If you want to see what that looks like, let me see if I can show it. I have the pattern here. If I can show you without giving anything away on the pattern. We'll do it this way. Like this. So what I'm doing is I'm knitting the main variegated color here, and then these two sections, when it's folded inside itself like this, will be this right here, as you can see. So one way it's going to show C here, and then the other way it's going to show D here. So these two sections will be the green, and then I'll go back to the main section and do my decreases and finish. So that's what I'm talking about, to give you a little visual of what I'm doing. Let's see, what else am I doing? I am working on a pair of socks. I have another pair of socks that I keep at the office that I'm using Regia yarn in my little chip basket, my mini chip basket that I got from Fiber Hustle. I keep that at the office, and then whenever I have meetings and what have you, I can just pick it up and do quick meetings, because I used to carry a project with me all the time, back and forth, and now I've just gotten to where I leave, say, that pair of socks, and then next time I may leave a hat or something like that, but it's usually something simple that's in the round stockinette, so that I don't really have to pay attention to the knitting part of it so much. Every now and then I'll drop a stitch or I'll do something, but I've learned to tell with my hands when something goes wrong or when something doesn't feel right, so I can fix it pretty easy. If I have a pattern there, then I'm more looking down, and that's just rude in a meeting. So it has to be something intuitive that I can do. But this pair of socks is for my partner. I've gotten that much done. I did 20 round. Looks like knit one, purl one on the rib. Yeah, knit one, purl one. I change it up every now and then. And then I've got, what, 10, 20, 30 rounds so far of the leg. I think he wants them to be a little bit longer, so like the pair that I have at work are for him. And I did a 70 round leg, because normally I've been doing 60 rounds. So I'm doing 70 round leg. This one here, I think it looks like I did the knit one, purl one, and then I did a purl ridge, and then I started the leg. This is in Hearth Sock by Woolly Mammoth Fibers, and it is in the Patrick sock set. And it's 50% Jacob, 50% BFL. Dyed in Northern Ireland. So that's that. Here they are in their rounds. I'm keeping this in my little bag that I made myself. I need to put some stitch markers on this. I have a little sock stitch marker on here, but I had an issue with the stitch marker because it the way it's done, it's not doing right, so it catches and I can't get it to stay where it needs to be without catching. So I have that. The other one is in the hat's also in a bag that I made myself. I love these little bags. I need to make some more of them. Uh oh, let's put this back in here so I don't lose my label. What else can I... Oh, the blocks that I'm doing. I can show you those, but they're actually being blocked right now. So, this is my Berroco Mystery #1. This is in... I can't remember. Something other twisted yarn from Joanne. And I'm not really like stretch blocking it. I'm just like, I washed it and I've pinned it down. They're like 12 by 12 blocks. And then you get, like I said, this month had 2. This is the second one. This is like a basket weave pattern, and this is like a diamond pattern. You can see this one better because it's a tan, and you can actually see it better in the camera than you can in person. And the basket weave you can see better in person than you can in the camera. And then these are the vivid blocks that I've done, the blue and the burgundy. So that's those, and that's really pretty much all I've gotten done knit wise. I haven't done anything crochet lately. I was gonna do TL Yarn's mood blanket, where you're doing you're crocheting 4 squares and they're pretty large, and you just journal every day and then gauge your mood on your journal entry for the day, and then you add a stripe. And I'm not going to do that. I picked out the colors and everything. I kept up with like noting my moods every day for like 15 days. But that was the hard part, because I don't know, it was just really hard for me to gauge my mood. I'm not a person, I'm not like manic depressive, I'm not extremely happy. I'm just kind of like, I guess you could say, bah humbug. There are things that I get excited about, and there are things that I get angry about. And I noticed that it did show me that on 90% of the days, I'm more just blah. I mean, there was like 8 days in a row where I had no major emotion. I got frustrated during the day. I got angry during the day. Or I was happy at moments, but the overall feeling was just blah. So I'm not doing the mood blanket. But I am thinking that I will do the 4 squares in the colors that I have, and just kind of go follow the pattern, but take the colors that I chose and go from the darkest color and do 2 rounds and work my way out. And if I have to start over again with the same colors, then I will. Or maybe like 3 rounds, because, you know, the middle's going to be smaller, and then it's going to get wider as you go. So doing 3 rounds in the darker color isn't going to be a whole lot. But I'll think about that. I think that's what I'd rather do is, well, this one's not done in rounds. It's done back and forth. So I could either do, because each day is you go across and then back. I may do that, like go across and back twice with each color. So do like, it'll be 4 rows total, but do that twice. And then just go from like dark to light or light to dark or something. I don't know. I think it would be awesome to be able to do that. And then when I lay the blocks out, um, kind of pinwheel them or something. I don't know. And I may not do it. Who knows? I'm playing with some little circles over here that I made out of paper. I have these little circles. They're made out of scrapbook paper and oh, what do you call it? Cardstock. So I'll show you what I'm doing with it. So I have this cardstock here in a cream color, and I have pages of scrapbook paper, and I'm gluing the scrapbook paper to the cardstock. That's not going to stay there. It's going to fall off. And I have scrap cardstock too. This one's already glued. It's actually 2 pieces of scrapbook paper glued to a piece of lighter cardstock. That I just showed you is a heavy cardstock, and this is a lighter cardstock. And then I have this 2.5-inch circle punch, and I kind of determine how I want it. How do I want that? Let's see. And then I punch it. This one's really hard because it's got the 2 pieces on it. Oh, and it moved. So that didn't work. Nope, that's not going to cut through that. I'll have to do it some other time. This is just the one. And what I'm doing is cutting it out with this, making that right there. And then I take my smaller one. I have a little, it's either a 1/2 or a 1 inch. I don't know. And then I make a smaller one, which gives me the small circle. That one came apart. I hope the rest of it doesn't come apart. And then I take my hole punch and I punch a hole in the top. And I've made all these little ones here. And I've made some oval ones. I started out with my Cricut machine doing the ovals, and it doesn't want to cut them very good. As you can kind of see, it doesn't cut them very good. But anyway, these are floss drops that I made for myself because I have some cross stitch patterns. And I have the threads for them, and they are getting all tangled up. And I've got new cross stitch patterns, and the threads are getting all tangled up. But what I'm doing is you take your 6 strands of DMC or whatever you're using. You can get fancy threads if you want. I just use plain old DMC thread. And let's see if I can get a piece of this and show you. So I just do it like, these are my strands, and I separate them all, and I wind them like this, and then like this. And then you just pull the loop through the hole. And then pull the strands through the loop. And it kind of ties it on. And then you have I have binder rings, like 1-inch binder rings that I put through here. And I have all the floss that I'm going to use for one project on a holder. And then I have every one of them together. Now, if you're making your own, you can do coordinating. Like if you're, I've seen people do flowers with bees. Their cross stitch is some sort of flower pattern with bees with it. And then they do flowers and bees for their floss drops. I'm not that coordinated. I have a whole stack of pieces of scrapbook paper that's like this. I was trying to make it thicker by doing the double-sided, but that I just found out is not going to work with this punch. So that piece is probably not going to be used. I couldn't cut it with the Cricut either. It was too thick. I wound up using scissors. I'm thinking about using Mod Podge on it. And just, now that they're all cut out, just Mod Podging over the top, over the edge, and just leaving the back without. Now what I will do is I will write on the back. Like I write DMC and then I put what color is hanging on it. And I thought about just putting each color that I use, just leaving it on that floss drop. It doesn't have to be a certain thing. But if I do that and I write on the back what it is, I'm kind of like, I think I should do it in a pen or some sort of ink and then Mod Podge so that it stays there. Or maybe like put a sticker. I have some DMC stickers that go on those little plastic, weird looking bobbins that you can get to put inside containers, which probably do even better. You just wind them around. But I kind of like the drop part, and I'm thinking about those stickers might be okay for the back. And then I can just Mod Podge around. That way, what it does is, like when I cut this one out, even though I had these two glued together, it popped off. So it would seal the edges and maybe it would kind of strengthen it and it wouldn't pop off. But I don't know what I'm going to do with these little guys. We shall see. I think they'll be cute in journaling. Just something to like glue on the page or, you know, make a little tab in journaling with. I don't know. We shall see. I also used my tag punch and used the large. This one goes up. It's 1.5. This one here goes 1.5, 2.5, and 2 inches. And make a tag. I've done them with that. So I've actually been like kitting up cross stitch patterns, which is I have a bag and I get all the thread that I need for my pattern that I've chosen. I've got a pattern. I have the linen or the Aida cloth that I'm going to use to stitch on. I have a hoop. I have a needle. I have a needle keeper. And then I get all the thread for that pattern together so that whenever I sit down and start, I have all my threads on the floss drops. which is called cross stitch floss or embroidery floss, the threads. So I have those on binders. I have it all set up and I have them all in a bag. Maybe I will show some of those next time, but right now, that's pretty much all I'm doing. So I'm glad you chose to spend a little bit of time with me. I'm sorry I just kind of rambled on, but that's the way it's been in my corner of YouTube universe. So thanks for joining. See you later. Bye.